Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Johngy podcast, without which life would be incomplete and have little or no meaning. Coming to us from Skokie, Illinois, it's the man on the beat from johngysbeat.com, Mr. John Robleski.
That's me. How are you doing this week, Tommy?
I'm good. We're back with
part
two of our talk with Dr. Michael J. Dusa. If you haven't listened to the first part, I highly recommend it so that you know what we're talking about here and who we're talking to. But regardless, Dr. Michael has been a part of my life since I was a little kid. We've been talking about his time in bodybuilding, his time as a chiropractor, and we're going to talk some more about his book he wrote and the Fozzie Company, which is a company he is able to contribute money to feeding dogs and animals. And and he'll be able to explain all of it a lot better. But we had a really good talk, and so we wanted to be able to share the whole thing with you. So without further ado, here is part two of our talk with Dr. Michael J. Dusa. Well, this is kind of a good segue into your book. You wrote a book a few years ago, and it kind of touches on a lot of these types of principles.
It's shameless promotion because
give us the name of the book there.
MTFU, man the fuck up. 17 rules for living a life less ordinary. Picture me on it. All proceeds, and the profits aren't high, but a couple of thousand homeless animals were fed for a day. The way the company, the Fozzie Company, that we'll talk about, works is every sale goes to feeding a homeless shelter animal for a day, 2 meals. And we took the average weight and activity levels and ages of 3 subsets of dogs and cats in the country. We have to come to a number. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but a standard that comes out of each sale to go towards some of our shelter partners in order to help these poor little animals live better lives. So that's what we do through everything. And MTFU is that's a different company. But now we got the Fozzie Company. But yeah.
But give us just a real quick kind of overview of what the book is about and kind of gets into, because I've read it and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was I could hear you talking the whole time in the book. So I was like, this is Mike for sure.
Tommy, you can probably agree, hopefully, that I could be wrong, but I'm wrong with confidence. Meaning, I believe I'm right. I've tried the first chapter, Stop Lying, and I used to lie a lot. And somebody, Dr. Dusa, you didn't lie. I go, well, no, actually, I did the wrong things for myself. I try to put up a certain front. If you ask me if I liked your dress, I might say yes, and I don't. So are they damaging lies? No, they were to me, though. I would lie to myself for a long time.
Sure.
And one of the metrics you want to follow to have a good life is you want to be good with yourself when you're behind yourself, when you're alone with yourself.
Right.
With yourself. Because if you're alone in your room at home at night, none of those stressors that surround you during the day to make you act certain ways that you don't want to act, if they're no longer there and you're alone with yourself and you feel pretty good, then you're on the right track. But if you still are haunted by all of these problems, then there's something intrinsic that you got to work on. And I think we all have these self-contained abilities that we have to break open. Bottom line is the world is terribly harsh for everyone. I've had probably, and again, believe me, nobody wants to hear it. There's this weird thing with certain people. If they see you wearing a cast, they'll come up with you and they'll start telling you about how they were more injured than you. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Like it's a competition.
It's a weird pride that you don't want to have because you don't want to mess with your health. And I've had, like I mentioned earlier, I think I've had 28 orthopedic surgeries. I've had some terrible, terrible accidents. Never injured lifting weights once.
Right. Yeah. It's never that. Yeah. It's always
get injured while you're having fun, not when you're walking down the street or in your car or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And so a lot of downtime. I lost probably a decade of productivity and happiness and growth. And so it's all about busting through those walls and getting past it no matter what, because I see one person do it. I believe because we're all the same. We all have the Latin translation for body as soma. We all have the same soma, the same structure, but we all direct our chemistry differently, our brain chemistry. So
Sure.
really, it's about getting your brain chemistry straight so you can get what it is that you want. We alluded to earlier, people don't know what the fuck it is that they want, or they're too embarrassed to admit it.
Yeah.
The bodybuilders around here, when I was writing for the magazines, they would come to me and I would try to help them. And they were tremendous physique, some of these guys in Greater New Haven. And the guy would come in and he couldn't really articulate. I go, you want to go in the movies, right? He goes, well, yeah. I go, well, it's not going to happen. So first they get mad. I stagger what I give them for information to draw out a certain reaction so we can go to the next thing. I said, well, what do you mean? You don't seem like you're serious. I mean, and they're serious in getting tremendous shape. I go, do you really think a casting director is going to come to fucking New Haven and just incidentally see you working out? No, you got to go to where it is, LA, whatever it is. And then I would tell them there's probably 200 guys that look better than you. And what I'm really telling there is it's not just, especially now, because so many people train.
Yeah.
You got to have something, you've got to develop these other ancillary talents. And if you do all that, tells you and whoever you're serious, and even then it may not happen. But I will tell you this, like I asked Evan, did I do all that I could?
Right.
And if you do that with yourself and you really know you did, then you're good with yourself when you're alone with yourself.
Right. And that goes for anything that you do in life. You know, as long as you know that you gave it everything that you had, then yeah, you should be able to sleep.
The thing is though, about that, you can't. You can come close.
Sure.
Very close. Because reaching your potential, if you actually reach it 100%, then you're dead.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing left to do.
There's nothing else to do. Yeah, you've done it. Yeah.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the book is, from my perspective, it was about helping, identify your priorities and how to break through the barriers to achieve them, and some of the things that you just have to be honest with yourself about and say, look, this is a shortcoming. This is something that I, struggle with, but I need to not be ashamed of it, and I need to do something about it and take control, because you're the only person who can make that change in yourself.
This book was written to my mother. My dear mother passed away a couple of years ago, and closest, best person I ever knew. Devastating. And I have her book. Thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. But I'll just read. I'm just going to read the chapter titles really quick.
Yeah, please.
That could be telling, I think.
Yeah.
And I haven't read this. Sometimes I refer back to it. I need it myself. You really got to keep bouncing back all the time. It just seems like it never. Table of contents, stop lying. Most people do. Imposter syndrome, they're doing the wrong thing. And are afraid to pull themselves out of it and what other people think. You are your number one job. I used to tell patients that you're putting your kids before yourself. And they're like, of course. I go, that you're wrong. You got to put yourself first. And they think it's terrible, but I'm like, no, you can't pour from an empty cup. You got to take. I don't have time to work out. Get up at 5, be impervious. I've got this thing. One thing I've never fucked up is I am impervious to the power of pussy.
Yeah.
I can't be taken down by the silly charms of the opposite sex. And most men, I don't have that kind of baggage in my life, which is good. So lifting others, people have a very, very, very hard time, especially in bodybuilding. Like, it's funny, the women especially, all this you go girl shit. Well, prove it to me for a change, because you got 3 women talking, and the third one walks away, and she's the best looking one, and those 2 start ripping on her, bitch, plastic surgery, slut.
Yeah.
So again, there's very little, when you're talking about it's how you look, and that's all there is, very vacuous. The people just, they don't support each other at all. They say they do, but they don't. Do not be a burden. In other words, you know what? Try not to just carry your own weight. Do the best you can. be a person of value, not necessarily success, value, utility. People will find you because you can fill a need, and then you're never gonna want, DFU. This kind of just says it all. Don't fuck up.
Yeah.
Do not try to be the best. People are always touting being the best. I go, well, how are you gonna find out whether you're the best or not? There's some kid in Africa right now coming through the woods wearing a tattered fucking Michael Jordan t-shirt, mismatched tuxedo shoes, and an M16, and he could probably run faster than you. So you're not the best. Be the only. If you're the only, well, nobody can be you. And there's no competition. It's pretty easy. But the ego thing and the influence from these people who would rather see you go down, that's always present. I have a chapter with 3 girlfriends, and of course the 4th is my now wife. And that got a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
Listen, I ripped on them, but I also said how I did things wrong. When I was in my practice, I would I'll admit, I did not want to be alone. I would work 100 hours. It didn't matter. I was like a machine. My thing is, I will overwork myself, in order to succeed. Maybe I don't have the information. Maybe it'd be easier, but I'll make sure somehow that I succeed. If it's 100 hours, that's fine. Now I'm dating a girl. Now she believes, oh, you must be fucking around on Saturday night. And she works in my office during her vacation, just helping us out. And she's, oh my God, I've never seen anybody work so hard. Well, why didn't she believe me? Well, I got to tell you, I told these women, there was several of them that I dated while I my practice for 15 years. And I told them, I go, my practice comes first. It is my family, and it's the only way we're eating in this $500 restaurant right now. Sure. One girl, my sister, her, and myself, she's talking to my sister as though I'm not sitting there. She's like, oh, Michael, all he does is work, and I can't believe it. And she lives in Jersey and stayed away. She's going on and on and on. So I just looked at her. I go, Doreen, I remember I said these 3 things. I go, how's your steak? And I'll give her credit. She doesn't speak like, she goes, oh, it's roasted to perfection. I go, oh, how's the wine? It's a wonderful year. I go, how do you like this place? Nicest place I've ever been to. So then I look at my sister. I go, how the fuck does she think I'm paying for this tonight?
Right.
So what I'm saying is, you can't have it all. There's a sacrifice. But I will say this: they wanted more. I wasn't willing to give it to them. So in certain ways, I was using them, so I wasn't lonely, and I admit that in here. But ultimately, some people have this veneer. Well, the man is always this, the woman's that. No, let's look at the parts and add them up and see what the net gain is. And if it's not a gain, just let's end it right now. The woman I have now, I would die for her right now. Been with her 9 years. I wouldn't even have to think about it. I do everything for her benefit and her daughter, and it's just wonderful. And I would never. If you talked to me when I was in practice, I was least likely to live in a nice house with a woman, and that's it. The least likely, and I never thought this would happen.
You'd end up where you are,
Yeah, and then another chapter is nothing really sucks, because I had a patient who used to come in, and he was a gambler. He was a dumbass, and he would always lose. And he'd come in angry on Monday morning. The Giants suck, the Giants suck. And I got tired of listening to him. New York Giants suck. This is like a fat guy, barely tied his shoe. And I said to him, I go, I can't say that the Giants suck, because even the guy who holds the tee for the kicker is better than me.
Sure.
So and I'm trying to tell him, how do you don't measure up to them.
Right.
What I'm saying is, I'm not quick to say anything sucks if I haven't mastered it myself. I may not like it.
Sure.
It's very disparaging. You're cutting that out as something that you may pursue or learn about. Nothing sucks. Always be able to say, I don't have to. I don't know if I'm there. I've been there in the past, but you want to set your life up where you're not like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill, and you get to the top, it rolls back down for life. It's always a toil and a struggle. You want to get to where, I'm not saying, another axiom in business is you want to make fuck you money, that kind of money where I got enough where I don't have to do anything. You don't want that either, because that can make you very, if you have nothing,
can make you complacent.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. Don't retire. You want to be able to retire, but you always have to have something productive to do for your mind.
Right.
I had many patients that retire at 65 and they'd be dead a couple years later. Be tough and live a purposeful life. You want purpose. You want a mission. You push, there's push and there's pull. You push yourself. There's some shitty thing you have to do on Monday morning. But if you have something that, like our company now, it's hard. It's very hard. Everything is hard. But the pull is we know we're feeding a hungry animal at the end, and that pulls us. Pull is like a magnet.
Sure. Yeah.
And it gets us through the shit, and we get there because no matter what, like that Dorian Yates thing with the dumbbell, your mom dies if you don't do that rep. It's the same thing here, but it's
Right.
it nourishes your soul as well, so it pulls you. This was from Stallone. He said, "Loneliness kills. It's an invisible bullet. You only live as long as you have something to love." And so this chapter is called "The Invisible Bullet That Is Loneliness." So I talk a little bit about it's okay to be alone. Like I said, when you're truthful to everyone, you're gonna be solitary, but not lonely. That's different. Everyone is a bodybuilder, and we had to work that in. But yeah, a lot of people are building themselves into heaps of shit. So what are you building is really what it is. And I know it sounds horrible, but I only want the best for people. Just my delivery is a little brusque.
Yeah.
It is. No, it is. And I had a guy just recently post, this guy's the most arrogant asshole on the planet. Well, there's reasons where that came from, and it's only his lack, why that came out. But I'm all about getting the information delivered. One of my therapist friends told me once that I had to write something for her. She said, "Well, your words pack punch, and sometimes they're peppered with profanity, but that only gets to that when the person is not getting the information. Seemingly, it's got to be delivered somehow. Compliment everyone because you never know. Somebody they never hear a good thing from anyone. Never hear any. I had a guy.
It costs you nothing to do it.
I had a patient come in on a Monday morning, and she was crying, a long-term patient. So I come in, and I'm like, "Well, what's going on now?" And she said, and her husband was her birthday, and he gave her as a gift. He wrapped up a wrench in newspaper. This almost makes me cry. And the note said, "Fix the toilet, bitch." That's her birthday. Okay. So now, never mind compliment everyone. She is in such a. You know what? I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it publicly once again. I don't want to say I want this to happen or I'm happy, but if he were dead right now, the world would be no poorer. How's that? I'm not gonna say I'm happy or death, But what a piece of shit. And who knows what her role was, but you just that's listen, there's abuse. You can beat on people, child abuse, but mental abuse. One thing about harming somebody physically, that pain will go away. But physical or mental, if you're creating a Vietnam-like barren wasteland of a battlefield in somebody's brain can, they've got to navigate through that every fucking day.
Yeah.
You're giving them the worst shit to deal with on this planet, where I could only hope they can take that shit and make it into a tightly focused laser beam of good. They're going to have to use it somehow. Otherwise, they're going to make themselves 300 pounds. They're going to abuse others. So compliment people, mindfulness, meditation, gratefulness. And then the last chapter is, if you don't like dogs, then I don't like you.
Well, that's very appropriate.
It's a fun, Tommy, it's a fun book. And I think you said it, you can hear me talking. Because,
it's very,
I was pretty much like this back in the 80s, 90s, right? So at least I'm consistent, right?
Yes.
Like I like to deal with, Evan said the Pawnee really liked this one. I told him once, I like to deal with assholes. He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, because they're always assholes, and I can prepare for that, so I know what's coming."
At least you know what you're getting. Yeah. John, did you have something you were going to say?
Yeah, no, I had a point. Tommy, you and I were talking about it yesterday. I just think it's important. I know how to speak now. Important point to bring out. Despite the title of your book and some of the things you said, it really is a book for all people. It's not just a book based for men to be men. It's for everybody.
Oh yeah, no, right, absolutely, yeah. And body, I'm from the bodybuilding world. There's a picture of me shooting a pose on the back, but actually, I was kind of a thank you to Brian Moss. He's a famous physique photographer, and you got to pay him, but he doesn't take anybody unless you're a top level person. I'm not, but I want to pop it on there. But it's part of who I am.
Absolutely.
It's not about.
It's not bravado or anything like that.
No,
it's who you are, and it's I'm very proud of the things I've accomplished in bodybuilding and wrestling and music and just
Podcast.
podcasting and
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, but I mean, and all of that adds up to who I am as a person. I'm the result of all of those experiences. So,
It's as far as like I got pictures of myself on the wall here and all that. I've had some people break balls, and I don't even answer. But one time I did address. I go, listen, nobody's ever been in this room except me. I mean, Denise, of course,
right.
but it's all for me. My
Yeah.
garage has all the stuff from the contests, all the posters that we did, and some other stuff. But that's for me. There was a very famous gym owner who is deceased now. I think he committed suicide. Unfortunate, but one of the icons of gym ownership in the country. And one day he gets up. I would put up pictures of me and Frank Zane, me and Samir Banu, me, bodybuilders who, I was in the 180, so were they. They were far better than me, but I could stand up to them in a picture.
Sure.
And we would talk about it, joke around, but for me, it would help me. But he came across, goes, "Who the hell do you think you are? Putting yourself up with Frank Zane." So I simply said, and this was private conversation. I go, how long have you been a fraud for? He goes, "What? I own so and so gym." I go, well, no. I mean, you have these pictures of these Mr. Olympias on your gym wall. Of course, they come here sometimes. I go, well, why? And you go, well, because for your members will look at them. We're all humans. What did I say earlier? We all have the same mechanics. Maybe you direct the brain chemistry differently. Maybe you find out ultimately you have better genetics than that guy, and you go the distance, and that pushes you. Or maybe it offers you a little bit of hope. So I offered him, that's why I have those pictures up. I can't help you own this gym for 50 years, and you don't know that. And
Right.
it tied into the room here, and you have all this. That's for me. It's for
Yeah.
me because listen, I want to quit often. I wake up, my dog died and my mother died, and now I just have Denise, and it's terribly sad. In the mornings, I don't want to
Yeah.
get out of bed, but by the time I'm going, I'm good, But somehow, maybe I got to remind myself when I was better looking or more muscular or whatever the hell. It's for me,
Yeah.
Well, you're entitled to. You're entitled
Yeah,
to
but
decorate your
people are
place how
like,
you
well,
want.
this guy was like, who do you think you are? I go, well, I know who I am. I don't think of who I am. That's his interest. But this guy owned a gym, and and again, and he actually wanted to meet me and fight.
Well, that's insane. I've never,
I've never had a fight in my life.
really.
And I bounced in bars for years, and I'm a good diplomat, man. I can diss you, and you won't know until tomorrow. You wake up after being drunk. That motherfucker.
Yeah.
We got you out.
Yeah, no, where I work out in my building, I've got kind of a private space where I can work out, and I've got some old bodybuilding photos of me and things like that, and it's nobody else sees it other than maybe one or two other people who
Right.
I use that room with and stuff, but that's for me to see while I'm working out and just kind of remind me, like, and they're it's something that you've accomplished, and it's
Yes.
not, I mean, why should I forget about having done that?
But there's nothing wrong with
or-
any of that. If you put up stuff that makes you happy, you surround yourself with things that make you happy. If it's a picture of you posing or a picture of you with a celebrity or whatever, if it makes you happy, if there's a reason for you putting it up there, you're not just putting it up there to cover a hole in the wall.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to be going through that heartless pantomime like an automaton or robot every single day, kind of going through the motions. There's got to be more than that, I think you got to find that within yourself. What is it that you want to do? But other people around you, if you're surrounded by the wrong people,
I agree. It makes a world of difference in your life if you can just keep yourself around people who are not negative and poison to your soul like that.
Poison. It's people. I just can't. Society. It's amazing that we're civilized. Sometimes I can't believe that people don't just start going outside killing each other.
It comes close.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a fine line.
Yeah.
Denise used to joke with me that I would ask her, "Hey, how do you think I'm going to go?" "What do you mean?" I go, "How do you think I'm going to die?" And she looked at me. This was years ago. I've known her since we were teenagers. She goes, "Heart attack or shotgun blast to the chest."
Yeah.
I was either going to do it to myself or someone was going to get me.
Yeah.
So you're still the same person, but you maybe soften your delivery. You want to recruit like-minded. I never give up on people the first time. I've had some people attack me, but maybe they don't understand. I'll try to win them over. I'm usually successful, and you got to kind of acquiesce a little, or maybe backtrack, or change your mind, or listen to what they have to say, because everybody and everything has value, just maybe not to you. And I
Sure.
won't hire people who say, I don't care,
Hmm.
I don't know. They use the word just. That's a minimizer. Sounds fucked up, doesn't it? But I know where
Yeah.
that's going to lead as an employee.
Yeah.
I want people to, take a chance, at least try, not burn the place down. And you said something earlier, which is very important: appreciation.
Right. Yes,
You're
absolutely.
giving me your time. Yeah, we're paying you. You're giving me your time. That's very valuable. So let's not waste it
Right.
collectively, not just me or you,
Yeah.
collectively.
So let's before let's get into the Fozzie Company here, and then we'll let you go here. But I mean, we definitely need to talk about this. Tell us,
Fozzie is everything now.
tell everybody about how it came about, the inception of it.
Fozzie was my rescue dog. I got him at age 6. He was in the pound. Got him for $5, and I had him until he died when he was 20.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very. And he was a shelter dog, and we rescued him. And the appreciation that a dog could have. He always loved me. He always had appreciation. He paid me back in many ways. I never had kids. And I
Yeah.
tell Denise has a daughter, wonderful person. And but when I die, my DNA will be gone like I was never even here.
Yeah.
I've got Fozzie, and when he died, there was lockdown, masks, and all that. So we went to the hospital late at night, and they. Long story short, I ended up yelling at the people in there because they wouldn't open the door because you had to wait your turn. He was dying in my arms, so I thought it was. So these women in the parking lot started yelling at me, and I just and believe me, this is just a figure of speech. I go, shut your fat ass up and get back in your car. I couldn't even see them. One of them happened to be
Right.
fat. So she starts marching across the parking lot. And did you call me fat? And I tried to, smooth it out. And I looked, I go, well, you are a little over the. And she just hauled off and you know what she did beforehand? She went up to Denise in the Jeep. Ma'am, I'm very sorry. And Denise is like, please don't, please don't, please don't. She comes up and hammers me right in the jaw. So I tell
Wow.
Denise, call the police. My dog is dying. He peed on me and everything. And she couldn't
Man.
believe we were calling the police. Young girl, in her 20s. That's how it is now. They feel they can punch you and get away with it. Well, long story short, they let her off with a phone call. That's how it is now. That put a little fire in me. I needed something to do, a new company. So that wasn't the reason. That was kind of just a little added story there. But I figured here's a dog that paid me back 100 times. There's millions like him, cats and dogs, out there, suffering. See, a person will say it's only a dog. I go, I cut them right out. I treat
Yeah.
everything the same. Cats, dogs, anything that's alive is in my
Hmm.
sphere of influence. I embrace it. So we started the Fozzie Company. It started very slowly. It's starting to build now. Any business is hard. You're trying to get people to open their wallets, but really, every sale feeds a hungry, homeless, shelter pet for a day. One of the is that on the sleeve? No, not. But one of our trademarks: feed them all. And a
Right.
young guy said, "Well, doctor, how are you going to feed them all?" I go, "Well, we're not." So he was a little confused. I go, "It's a sphere of influence thing. The bigger our sphere of influence gets, then it's incumbent upon us in our responsibility to feed anything that needs it within there. We have some shelters that are partners with us. We
Sure.
find out what they need and we take a portion of the sales, and we contribute that. We don't donate. It's not charity. We got to be careful with the wording because it's a for-profit company.
Yeah.
We got to make money. There's a funny rule in Connecticut here. When you go to pay your mortgage and buy food, they want money, lots of it.
Yeah.
Anybody listen? It's my fault. We attract people, Tommy, who are like, oh, you're trying. What are you doing with the money? I attracted the wrong people. There's a message to the market mismatch. They're not getting. They only see money or someone trying to screw people over. And I'll be straight. I can understand that because I remember in the comic books when I was a kid, maybe when you were a kid, there was something called the Jimmy Fund. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Kids in
Yeah.
wheelchairs. All right, you may remember.
Mhm.
And there's a little ad with kids throwing football. You know, and the kid in the wheelchair, he just says, "I can dream, can't I?" I don't need
Right.
to laugh. I'm gonna laugh in a second. I'll tell you what happened. The Jimmy Fund's still around, at least up until a couple of years ago. And I'm in line at the food store, and there's people in the line, and it's my turn. And the girl, you know, young girl working there, the company tells her to solicit, you know, would you like to donate $1 for the Jimmy Fund? She's like a morbid mummy, bored, you know,
Yeah.
doesn't even know what she's asking for. I go, the Jimmy Fund. I look at people in line. I go, Jimmy. I remember Jimmy 40 years ago when he still ain't walking, so no money for you. And I think the people got it, you know. But the point, not that I wouldn't help, but where's the money go? Do we ever have any success with anything? I don't think the powers that be want to cure diabetes or cancer. It's too much money in it. Now here, we're genuinely assuaging hunger for at least a day, you know,
Yeah.
and it gives hope. And then we have another thing of pups on parole. On Fridays, we bring a pup into the YouTube studio and we do a little thing and people are watching. Would you like to adopt this one? And it gives you the opportunity. We're just a conduit for people to help or to adopt or to understand. Because if it's not in front of you, not present in front of you, you don't tend to see the stuff. You know, average person lives on $2 a day on the planet. So they're not high stepping it, you know, very well. And it's worse for the animals. So we're developing a line of good, fun products. All artwork's done by me.
That's what I was going to ask. What sort of stuff can people get?
Right now, you go to the
contribute this?
website, thefozzycompany.com. Don't buy anything because we don't have any products in stock. We're on our third manufacturer. No, I'll get it all straight. It's new to me. It's new to us. Hats, beanies, sweatshirts, t-shirts. We've got something called a Fozzie Pocket Pup coming. It's like a little tiny, kind of looks like this. Only this is a bear, but it's a little tiny Fozzie. A little paperwork, and you can hold it with you, and it gives you hope, and you can talk to it and all that. A little story behind it. And we got a few other things in the works. You can look at Twin Lab and you can look at EAS, two big supplement companies. Twin Lab, at least in their heyday, had hundreds of items. That's okay. EAS, Bill Phillips' old company, had 6 or 7 flagship items. That's going to be us. 6 or 7 strong flagship items that people. I don't want them to just say, oh, I'm buying, I don't really want it, but I'm helping. I want it to be stuff they really want. Like this is the Fozzie Fred series. Fozzie rescues every dog. Fred, Fozzie rescues every dog. Everything's in red. We have several different designs. You buy that, you wear it on a Friday. It's a campaign. You buy this, you feed 2 homeless animals for a day instead of 1. And then we have one other campaign. So it's going to be 2 strong campaigns with lines of items to go behind them, which involves the people, and they feel that, and they are truly involved in not only buying something, but in other words, we're empowering them. What's the mission? The mission is to feed them all. We're empowering that person to have impact, because the average person at home now watches TV and they feel disaffected. They have no control. They're at the mercy of the powers that be. They see all this sad stuff. Oh, there's nothing I can do. Well, there is. And this is you directly doing this. You know, we're in the middle of the mechanics.
Right.
And people dig that, you know.
Right. You're allowing them the opportunity to actually step up and do something.
You know, there's something in business, and even in your business, WIIFM, what's in it for me? It only matters, they don't care about me. Certainly not in practice. When I was in practice, I was like the rich, mean doctor. Not that I was mean, not that I'm rich.
Yeah.
But that's the perception. So
sure, yeah.
What did we say earlier? They don't want to go to the doctor. They have to. So you better take them out of pain, because if they're spending an hour with you and you're doing shit work, they have 167 hours left for the week to think about how bad you suck. And as we said, nothing really sucks. And I do a lot of things. Sucking ain't one.
Yeah. John, did you have something you wanted to throw in there?
I'm good. I checked out the website. I do like the products. I love the cause. Always with the animals, love the cause. So
the mission, John, only because the cause usually goes along with it. But no, I thank you. But we're also running something in 2025. What are we, 2023? Yeah, a little over a year. Fozzie Con. We're going to hold it right at the Oakdale Theater here. It's going to be like a Comic-Con type thing. I work on getting people like, Keanu, any big name star who, not just for the sake of getting someone famous, just someone who could bring eyes to fall upon.
Sure, absolutely.
You know?
Linda Blair.
What's that?
Linda Blair and her World Heart
Yeah,
Foundation.
Again, it costs money to do this, but they have to really be genuinely interested in it too. Friend of mine, lawyer, used to run baseball events similar, and he hired, I think it was Hank Aaron. If you remember, he used to be the home run king. I don't know if
Oh
he's
yeah,
still
yeah, no, of course, yeah.
and he paid him like a high number, $5,000 or something, to be there and sign autographs. And he, after a half hour, he gets up and he's trying to leave. So my friend said, "Where the hell are you going?" "Well, I'm done here." He goes, "I paid you for 2 hours." I mean, you don't do that with this guy. You could probably have you killed or something. I don't know. I don't mention names, as you can see. And he told him to sit back down. Now, that's a person who's, I don't know, Hank Aaron, maybe he's having a bad day. But that day, he was not believable because he wanted the money to get out.
Right.
You want to have a connection. People, again, they're not just going to be willing to part with their money. It's very hard for them. They're usually doing something they don't like to get that money. So they're not just going to throw. If you're not paying attention to them, you're done. You'll never ever. You lose that person, they'll never come back, and they'll be talking smack about you, and it's hard enough.
I agree.
I already got those girlfriends from MTFU. They're probably ripping on me right now, so I've got that out.
We should have had them on the show with us here today.
Let's next show. It's the rebuttal.
But John covers a lot of conventions, and I'm sure he can attest to people who are known for being more personable and interactive.
Well, I mentioned
you
Linda,
could speak to that.
I mentioned Linda Blair because one particular story I had about her was I had talked to her agent, or one of her agents, about doing an interview at one of the conventions. I get to the convention, and maybe it was a different agent at this point, but he said, no, we don't have time for that. And then I mentioned her World Heart Foundation, and Linda actually heard it, stops him cold and says, "I'll give this guy time to talk about that." So I got like a 5-minute interview with her based on the World Heart Foundation that she does, all her work with animals.
Yeah. So that she genuinely cares.
They're very careful who they affiliate with, because you never know. You might have some crazy. It could go both ways. I brought Gregory Hines in, if you're familiar with him.
I remember when you did that. Yeah.
Movies and all that. Huge bodybuilding fan, and he knew I was giving scholarships. The bodybuilding contest I ran for 4 years. The kids had to truly be students, a minimum of 12 credits. They had to have a 3.0 grade point average. I was going for the top. I mean, I discounted a lot of people because of this, but those were the standards. They had to write an essay, 2-page essay, about why they wanted to go in the contest. And they would get scholarships, cash scholarships, out of my pocket, $5,000 each year. And he liked that. So admittedly, I paid for his plane fare. He didn't want any money, and he happened to be on Rosie O'Donnell's show the next day. We're right near New York, so he needed a ride anyway here. He came to the show. He spoke, gave out trophies, all that stuff. So it worked out great. There was good stuff in it for him too. I'm not fooling myself. He didn't know who the hell I was, but to impress upon. Somebody asked me, I was alluding to it earlier, the kid, like, how do you work with all these people? I go, I just call them up. I call them up, and they have very little time. So I did something once where I sent out I said the 1-minute YouTube podcast, and it intrigued a lot of them, big names, because they have a minute, and they don't want to spend a fucking hour with somebody. They just don't, and you can fool yourself. When I was younger, I thought, why not? Because we're helping others. They don't give it. But if you can kind of get in there like that, announce it in a way that nobody else is doing, you'll get their attention at least. Then it's up to you.
Right.
Some of them they're just gonna say. I get told no all the time. I do. I get told no. I have had mostly failures, but the couple of big wins were home runs that erased the failures.
Right. And you wouldn't have the successes had you not had the 99 other failures. It takes
and it's still scary. But I say this, I say I'm wrong all the time, but I'm right at least one more time each day than wrong, so that I'm still ahead. And don't be wrong don't be the doctor who skipped suturing.
Yeah.
And then the motherfucker, he's doing some great, he's like the Siamese twin separator of the universe. Doctor, time to suture him up. Oh, he's got to bleed to death. I don't know how to do that shit. that means you're behind. You want to be ahead, Yeah. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Makes sense.
Well, we thank you very much for all of your time.
Oh, I
and
hope I didn't
coming.
talk too much.
No, not at all.
Very enlightening.
I mean, it's been great for me personally. I haven't seen you, and can't even remember how long
Oh, I
it's
love
been.
you, man. I
But
love my memories with you and your dad and being out there. And you won't. I'm going to tell you, I'm getting older. I'll be 60 in, I don't know, September 2nd. But I stay. I don't even. I don't think I look that way. I stay in good shape.
yeah, you're
I just hope
fantastic.
I have enough. I tell Denise, I hope I have enough time to get done what I want to get done. But all
Right.
you have at the end, as you get on, are your good memories. You got to have stuff too, some structures. But I don't have a lot. I'm not weighed down by a lot.
Well, there's a very good reason why I still keep my Michael J. Dusa bobblehead up in my place, because you're someone who holds a very special place in my heart. I do love
Oh
you,
man.
and I was, when I was kind of telling John about, kind of prepping him a little for this, I was like, I'm like, I always call him Uncle Mike. He refers to me as his young
And here we
squire.
are, years later, and we're talking
Yeah,
like that we have missed no time. I have one
yeah,
other friend, like my best friend Lee. Since we were 15, we started training together. To this day, we have coffee together once a week. And you'll occasionally have a person in your life where you won't even see him for 2 years, but it's still the same. And
right.
I feel that right now because you and I have this kinship understanding of events, and we still kind
Yeah,
of live them and grow from them now. And some people they're meant to disappear from your life as you go. And it's
yeah.
not necessarily wrong with that.
No, well, I'm glad that here we are all these years later, and we still are part of each other's lives, and you are a very important part of mine and
Tell
my
your mom I said
memories.
hi.
I will.
I'm Facebook friends, but I don't see her on there much. But listen, everybody, Fozzie, the FozzieCompany.com. It explains everything there. We've got hundreds of pictures of people who bought items. We give them a little big if they post a picture with them doing nothing illegal. Well, one quick story about my Dusa chiropractic t-shirts. I used to give out hundreds of them. And one night I'm laying in bed, probably with my girlfriend at the time, and the last news, the stupid news at the end. Near the college here, they have something called the Sleeping Giant Mountain. Pretty prolific mountain. People climb up there. So this one kid had to be rescued, and he was very belligerent. They had to bring a helicopter, repelling, I don't
Wow.
know, SWAT, whatever the hell they brought. And the kid was resisting them. He's drunk. He was going to die. He was going to fall off a cliff. And they show him getting put into the squad car at the end. And his arms are back, and he puts his chest out. It's like, Dusa chiropractic. I swear to God, my girlfriend's like trying to high five me. Oh, that's really smart marketing there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All good publicity.
If you buy some Fozzie swag, don't be doing the wrong things out there.
Yeah. Please don't get arrested on television wearing it.
Eating an animal, getting a cat out of a tree, whatever.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, all right. On that note, thank you again, Uncle
All right,
Mike,
everybody.
and
Thank you,
hopefully
sir.
I'll talk to you soon.
I can't wait to see it. And God bless everyone. Thank you, Tommy and John. It was fun. And we'll talk soon, man. Let me know when it's up. We'll spread it around.
I will, man. You'll get it.
Thanks
You'll
for
be
your
the first to
time.
get it.
All right, guys.
All right. Take
Thanks.
care.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, that was Dr. Michael J. Dusa, who I affectionately refer to as Uncle Mike.
He's a
And
character.
he is.
Like, where do you even begin? I mean, every little segment that he had, the bobblehead, the book, the chiropractor, the bodybuilding, the Fozzie, every one of those could have been a separate episode.
I know I was thinking that as we went through it, I'm like, we should have booked him like, years ago or something and just kind of been keeping up with him as he went along. But thankfully I finally thought of it one day and was like, he really does have a lot of great stuff to talk about. And he certainly has worn a lot of hats. And I know some people might find him abrasive in some times, but I think it's just, again, he's passionate about what he feels, and he really is trying to do right by himself and by everyone in the world and by the animals of the world. And I appreciate his appreciation for animals and pets, because you certainly know my relationship with my cat Lily. I know that you've had pets before that you were very close to, and It certainly has made a huge difference in my life having one. And I've known the loss of pets before, and you know, for him to be able to take that feeling and do something productive with it is great. And so we definitely encourage people to go check out the FozzieCompany.com and check out
It's
some of the
funny.
merchandise.
You use the word that he might come across as abrasive, and I'm not sure if that's potentially the best word, but we'll stick with that for a minute.
Well, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but he is the thing that is he's genuine and sincere, and when he's abrasive, it's not it's in a coming from the heart where he's got his goal and he's got his life and he's got his thoughts, and he genuinely is trying to help people and animals as we see. And he's not going to apologize for it. And
Right.
I
Nor
like
should he. Yeah, no,
right, absolutely.
yeah, maybe unapologetic is a better word than abrasive. But yeah, you know, because you know, some people they just, you know, it's people interpret things differently. But I can tell you firsthand, I've known him the majority of my life, obviously, and he has always been just one of my favorite people. A really, really good guy, and someone who I wanted to emulate in various ways growing up. You know, like I said, when I was a kid, I was like, dude, I want to be a grown up and still know what's going on in comic books. And, you know, like when I was coming up, you know, I was told that like when you get older, you don't have toys, you don't have comic books, you're not going to have any of that stuff. And I think that my lifestyle and my apartment and all that is almost a outward rebellion of that, because all I have are toys and comic books and
Well, but I mean,
stuff
it's
like
like,
that, you know.
but it's the same thing. Like he was talking about the pictures. You don't have to apologize for any of that, and he doesn't have to apologize or explain the picture on his wall. I don't have to explain. I got a lot of pictures with celebrities on the wall, me and
Yeah.
celebrities. I like that. It reminds me of those times. It brings back happy memories. And if your toys or whatever else bring, who cares?
And
It's your living space.
I've had people say like, you know, man, you bring girls back here, you know, with all this out and
But the
everything.
right girl will like it.
And that's exactly what I say. I'm like, if she's the right girl, she'll appreciate that, you know. So but anyway, as far
You
as I'm
still have that
concerned,
picture of me hanging up? I mean, it's a picture of, I know you, me, Lisa, Proddy, and Al Snow, but it's a
that
picture
is,
of me.
yeah, I do. It's up in my bedroom. Yeah,
There you go.
it's right when it's right when you walk in the door. You know,
Yeah.
because that's a cool memory. You know, even if I have to look at you when I see it, it's
You
still,
haven't,
you
you haven't
know.
put a post-it note over mine?
No, I made like I took a marker and I did the little devil horns and the mustache and
You
that
still
whole
got to
thing.
see me.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you again to Mike Dusa for coming on the show. And it you know, we had a nice talk, and a lot of it for me was just it was just good to see him and get to catch up with him. For me personally, this was a good episode.
Well,
Um
I mean, that's
and I
kind of why I laid back a little bit for some of it because it was a bit of a reunion for you guys. A lot of it was experiences that you had shared, or at least interests that you had shared
right.
through whatever. And I would have kind of got in the way if I would. I didn't want to step on anything, and I was enjoying the ride. I enjoyed listening to the two of you catch up.
Yeah, well, good. I hope other people do too. So, well, everyone, thank you. I hope you found all this entertaining, and I hope that you'll check out the FozzieCompany.com, and you know, we can all do our part to feed them all. So, for the John G. Orwell's podcast, I of course have been who else but Tommy Else, and with me as always is the man on the beat from JohnG'sBeat.com, Mr. John Robleski.
Feed them all.